You need to learn the language of film. It's a language that is very easy to understand. Anyone can watch a movie, but to tell a story in cinematic terms is difficult.
I think everybody should make a documentary about their father. So I went to Dad and I said, well, could I shoot a little portrait on you to discover him as a man? Will I be able to recapture something that had been lost? What we'll do is we won't do a tight close, we'll just do a mid-close.
If you're making quick cuts to it, you better be close, isn't it?
Okay.
Otherwise...
So all we're going to have then is the ambience of the river behind you.
Well, have a look. I don't know.
Okay, let me have a quick look.
What exactly? Well, let me sit down here for a minute and see if we can...
Yeah. It's sort of here, you said, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There.
If I'm here, say, with a good light, you see, there's a bit of light there.
Okay.
And then you come about here and see, you have to be pretty low, I should think. And you probably need to be over a bit, don't you, to get the background? I don't know.
Yeah. With him to right and left frame.
And you've got quite a nice backlight here.
If you were lighting this, what would you do?
I'd just put a
big
polystyrene.
That would be it.
Put a light on the polystyrene. Shine the light onto the polystyrene and the polystyrene onto the face.
And would you put the polystyrene under the camera here?
No, to just one side. Sheet of polystyrene.
Right.
And then shine a light onto the polystyrene to make it brighter.
Okay.
And then get a soft light onto the face.
But, you know, you've got quite a lot of light on your face here.
Yeah.
Is that too much, you think?
Well, it may be. I don't know. I can't tell if I'm sitting here.
Camera.
I thought you'd solved this problem with a tripod. So, up. Both finished talking? I'll stop now. So, after I finished Point Blank, Lee...
Hold it.
No, for fuck's sake.
Listen.
What?
I've started filming a bit with Dad.
Yeah.
And he was quite impatient and, you know, and then he realised that our camera was sort of tilted because what Sophie and I didn't realise was that there's that bubble in the tripod that you have to set like a builder's, you know, planer thing, spirit leveler, and there's this bubble which we hadn't got that bit, you know, and I'm just hoping maybe you and, if you don't mind, some of your blokes can sit
Well,
down.
I can get the guys to show you some of the equipment that you might need. I think, you know, having worked with Dad, in the extent you've worked with Dad before, but it was Excalibur, wasn't it? But he'd always want to tell you what to do as well.
Well, he's so controlling, isn't he? He's a director, but I mean, the idea is to do maybe a 5-minute portrait, but, you know, maybe it could develop into a documentary, I don't know. But it's going to be really exciting it's going to be wonderful to spend that kind of time alone with him and you know, really get to the bottom of that secretive man, because he's quite secretive, isn't he?
Good luck.
Thanks.
I don't think he'll ever tell you that much, will he?
He'll
probably tell you just enough.
Ollie, what's that thing on top there? That's to pick up, what, the sound?
I'll use this, I'll film, you can film,
well,
so we'll put another tape in.
That's a pretty good all-round camera.
There you go. Now, don't let that drop. No, that doesn't...
What about this one?
Anyway.
I don't know what that is, actually.
This one?
It should be.
What kind of camera is that then, Charlie? Is that the professional?
No, it's a bit better than that one.
There are more options for, you can adjust the image. I don't know.
Sound is obviously the most important, so you can have a couple of
Channels.
Oh, you can have a couple of radio mics on here, and you know, good luck.
Thanks, Charlie. Okay, Dad. I'd love you to tell us a little bit about your first movie, Catch Us If You Can.
So I got Peter Nichols, the playwright, and we sat in a room for 3 weeks and wrote this story about a young couple on the run across England, encountering all the things that you would expect to find in the 60s. So it was a very dyspeptic kind of view of England, which was obviously aimed at a young pop audience. So it missed the mark. It got quite a lot of attention.
I think Telsha and I, the first film appearance was in his first film, Catch Us If You Can. I remember we had to call the actor Daddy, run up and say, Daddy, Daddy. And I remember crying and saying, but he's not my daddy. That's my daddy over there.
Can you remember
I remember that. I can remember feeling
I can't even remember
disturbed, you know.
This guy, Judd Bernard, gave me this script, and he also gave it to Lee Marvin. We met for lunch, and Lee said, well, what do you think of the script? I said, it's really bad. Typical Lee Marvin picked up the script. He said, I'll do this fleck with you on one condition. And he threw the script out of the window. That's typical Lee Marvin, a gesture, you know. And meaning, you know, rewrite it completely and then we'd do it.
Well, of course, your father only went to America to make a movie with darling Lee Marvin, who was the most unbelievably intelligent person. Lee Marvin was a remarkable actor. And he was the one who picked your father to do the movie. And your father was just perfect for him.
You know, I didn't aspire to be a film director or to be a novelist or anything. I mean, I just thought maybe I could write some articles and maybe some stories. You know, I was very modest in my aspirations. And then, of course, then going into the army was another phase altogether. And, you know, when I was in the army, when I was, 19, I met your mother.
I met Dad in Morvan. He was in the army. He was doing his army service for 2 or 3 years.
What were you doing?
I was a nursing student.
Sorry, but
and I went to Morvan, which was 1 kilometer or 2 away, and that's where I met your father.
For me, it was a way of escaping England and the English class system.
What do you think it was that made Dad so appealing to you as an Englishman?
Well, he probably... I wasn't perhaps I was not unattractive. And maybe that had something to do with it. Okay?
There was something, slightly exotic about it, too. And the fact that, she was German, it was like, in a way, courting the enemy.
Did they accept you, Dad's family? You were German and then they were British just after the war?
There was no way I would have even expected them not to accept me. Crystal Boorman, Crystal Kruse. I had never any problems with people. Funny, isn't it? I was never nervous of that.
Which was your favourite film?
My favourite film was Hell in the Pacific.
And why is that?
Because it's about 2 people from Lee Marvin and Toshiro Mifune, one Japanese and one American, stuck on a beach island, and they don't like each other very much.
And it was the most difficult script I've ever attempted because there's no dialogue.
That film was actually a reflection of their marriage.
Yes.
It was these 2 people who didn't, on some level, didn't get on. They clashed like the titans.
Yes, they did.
But they resolved to get on.
I think he was really and truly, he just pursued me. Okay? Pursued me. I fell for it left, right, and centre, and had 4 beautiful children, and made sure that marriage lasted.
You know, we had this tumultuous marriage, and somebody described our marriage as the continuation of the Second World War by different means.
I absolutely was determined not to leave you 4 children in a school. I thought, I don't care about their education as such. I take a tutor with me, you know, and he wasn't a great tutor because that's it. And you did all very well, it was okay. You know, you did all right.
Although we had a wonderful childhood,
yes,
travelling from place to place,
yes,
going on the movie sets, yes, with you and Dad, and you created this homely atmosphere,
yes,
and you were the real Earth Mother.
As relationships go, I think we were quite a close family. We were a good family as we were growing up. We all travelled around the world together. We were always in a lot of his films.
But in Helen Pacific, for instance, where we were making the film on a very remote South Sea island, where there were no doctors or facilities, it was really impractical to take. You were 5 and 6, and the twins had just been born, Daisy and Charlie. So we left them behind. They were only 7 or 8 months old. We left them with a couple who were working for us.
I think Mum was put in a very, very difficult position because, on the one hand, you know, she had 2 daughters, you and Talsha, who were 6 and 7. That's quite a young age too. You know, you needed attention, obviously. And I think she was in a tricky position, and I think that she had to make a decision. She couldn't not leave Dad alone out there.
And we came back 4 months later, and they were just on their first birthday, and they were walking. So we missed out quite a lot there.
That's a big sacrifice. But eventually you went to Ireland.
Oh, yeah. We went to Ireland, and I found a marvellous house to live in. And I worked on it for 12 years to make it what's what.
I thought it was fairy-like. You know, when you're little, you think that all the little fairies live around in the trees and the woods. Mum and Dad allowed us to be free, very free in terms of adventures. All my girlfriends and from school and who came up to visit and stay, I think everybody was very, very excited because they knew they'd be either going down a river or going on horseback up some mountain.
We had this privileged childhood in the way that Mum and Dad hadn't. You know, Dad had quite humble beginnings, sort of lower working-class family.
My mother's father had pubs, Gin Palace, in the Isle of Dogs. That's where my mother was born. And it's a huge gin palace, which in a slum.
And then we had this upbringing that was in film, and we all had each other. We had a very strong bond.
When you make a film, it's like taking a mistress, really. It's worse than that for a wife, because she's, you know, you have no time, and you're away. Even if you're there, present, you're away. When I was making Leo the Last with Mastroianni, we were shooting the picture 6-day weeks, and Saturday night went to dinner, Mr. Chow's, with my designer, Tony Woolard, and his wife, the 4 of us. And I was exhausted, I was so tired. I didn't really want to be out to dinner, but Crystal constantly interrupted everything that was being said. She just was unbearable because she wanted attention. And I said, okay, come on, we're leaving. And I pulled